This is the time, and this is the right person. You have manifested in for yourself a very powerful love connection, one that is going to be very fulfilling, mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. This is something that you have been preparing for a very long time, and this person has been preparing for a very long time. You are both wish fulfillment for one another. You are both that manifestation that has required sifting through a series of illusions, coming to know yourselves very deeply in order to truly understand what you really want, what is really good for you, what really aligns with the path that most appropriately fits a more purpose-filled and intentional life. It feels like for you and this person, some of you, you've already connected with this person, you've already met this person, you're starting to get to know this person, or they're coming in very shortly. Gemini season may be significant for you with this magician here, although these are timeless readings on my channel, so just take them as they resonate whenever you are watching this. So within the next couple of months, if you're watching it on or around the time that I have recorded and posted this video, this is somebody that is very near on the horizon if they're not yet in your reality. For a portion of you, this is somebody that you never had romance with before. It was like a failure to launch. There were other challenges. The timing was off. Circumstances have changed in both of your lives to where the timing is now and the timing is right. So it's going to be different for everyone, but this is something that represents a very significant love connection that is coming in. You and this person have successfully graduated from a series of lessons, certain cycles that you needed to go through for your own personal growth, healing, acceleration in life. You needed to close certain doors to the past in order to open up to the deeper potential of really getting to know yourselves as you are, and more importantly, as you want to become. And with this, it feels like you and this person are on the threshold of like stepping into a different kind of life for yourselves, or you've already manifested that. And with that comes an appropriate match as far as romance is concerned. Somebody that fits your future rather than someone that is a relic of the version of yourself and the life that you used to be living that you no longer embody, that you have actively taken steps to separate yourself from. You've closed certain doors. You've opened yourself up to the unknown. All of this has shifted things for you very significantly, and for this person very significantly, to where this is the time to experience this more satisfying love connection, a higher level love connection, something that all relationships take work, but this isn't going to be something where you're fighting tooth and nail in order to be able to make two misshapen pieces within two people fit together. This is the right match. This is the right fit. This is an easy love. It is going to be something that you and this person might already kind of question, or you might question very early on, is this too good to be true? Kind of like, what's the catch? When's the other shoe going to drop? It fits everything I've been looking for. And this is an appropriate defensiveness almost, because it showcases the boundaries that you and this individual have each had to cultivate in yourselves to pull yourselves up out of broken cycles and to embody a more empowered version of yourselves. It feels like something that this person's going to put up some boundaries, some resistance. You're going to put up some boundaries and some resistance. And there's going to be an ability to kind of like meet in the middle, like a meeting of the minds, where you're able to come to a place of like, I've evolved enough within myself to know guardedness is a form of self-love. It's a form of self-protection. And with this person as well, to where you're able to honor those kind of restrictions inside one another. And it's something that, unlike connections of the past that you and that this person have experienced, there's no pressure to be anything other than yourselves in the moment. You are meeting one another as you are, and it's almost like a covenant is then developed to gradually, and at times rapidly, grow beyond that comfort zone. to map out the nature of those boundaries within yourselves, and as you're able to decipher and discern them within the other person, and then to compare notes in that sense, so that there is a more honest, a more respectful, a more sanctified experience in romance and partnership that is possible, as compared to things that you might have experienced in the past with other people where maybe communication was a problem. People who didn't understand themselves and therefore could not adequately, maturely, and appropriately convey their needs to others. This is a transcendent experience beyond all of that. This is even the energy of like agreeing to disagree, but holding enough space within yourselves of like, I can hold within me the capacity that I don't have to understand your motives on everything, but we're meeting on some kind of common ground. We're choosing to move forward from that. And them doing that for you, like an equal exchange in that capacity, where it feels like this is a love connection that really celebrates both of your individuality, your autonomy, your need for personal sovereignty, and honoring of the journey that has brought you to this place in your lives. And for those of you that this is like someone from the past where it's finally the time for love, and the journey that it has taken to reach this moment in time, where there's a door of love that is presented for the two of you, and you now have the choice to walk hand in hand through that together. We've also got the Emperor. So this is someone who's very determined. I'm hearing mine. So it's like they see you, or they reach this place of resolution inside themselves very quickly, and it's like, mine. You're mine. What do I need to do in order to make this happen in the material world? What do I need to do to convince you of that? What do I need to do to reassure myself of that as well? So this is not just somebody that is going to, kind of bulldoze their way into your life. This is not somebody that's going to want to disrupt your pattern, that's going to want to interrupt your flow. They're not going to bring chaos to your doorstep. And they expect that in return from you as well. So it feels like this is a connection where you and this person are really able to flourish along the lines of certain things that you have set in motion for yourselves, things that are important for both of you. Those things, you're able to still attend to those. You're able to still show up for those things to the fullest of your capacity. And there's a mutual agreement to create space and time where there's a very conscious evolving of partnership together. You and this person may have similar wounds from the past, similar experiences with other partners where you lost yourselves in connections. You tried to become someone else in order to keep the peace between yourselves and previous romantic partners or karmic partners, previous spouses, previous long-term connections. There's like a shared wound of sort of selling yourselves out of a need to be like chosen or to be accepted, or making it all about the other person. And it feels like it's been a very painful journey to kind of reclaim yourselves, to recognize like my needs are important too. And as I honor those, I should rightfully expect those to be honored by the partner that I'm with or the partner that I'm choosing. But I also need to step up and put myself in that person's shoes and have it be a two-way street. So it feels like a very empowered connection with you and this person that's either coming in, someone that is new in your life, or like the return of a past person. Not somebody that broke your heart or, left you on red or ghosted you or blocked you, or, you've had this kind of like back and forth saga with over the span of time. This is not that kind of a past person. It's somebody that would have been like on the peripheral of your reality, somebody that was like right person, wrong time, something where there were, other challenges, third parties in the mix, other situations that took you both in different directions. Maybe just your life paths led you in different directions. And now there's been an opportunity to reconnect with one another without those obstacles. The third parties aren't the concern anymore. The challenges of the past aren't the concern anymore. You yourselves are different versions of yourselves now, so it's a different likelihood for a successful outcome than what might have only been looked at as kind of like two ships in the night. Wishful thinking, what if? A spark of attraction that couldn't be actualized, or maybe fears got in the way, and so action wasn't taken. And this is an opportunity to try again, to do it right. Like the stars are aligned now. But for a lot of you, this is going to be a new person that, again, is kind of an emblem of a new cycle that you have initiated for yourself and that this person has initiated for themselves as well. We also have Seven of Wands. So this is somebody that is going to fight for your attention. They're going to fight for your heart. This is not somebody that is going to give up easily when things get difficult. This is not somebody that is only there when it's sunshine and rainbows. They're not just there for the good days. This is somebody, it feels like, that has had to like pull themselves up by their bootstraps in their own life. This may be somebody that has a deep abandonment wound. People have left them in their hour of need, so they've needed to become very self-sufficient. Loyalty is very important to this person, and they don't just expect that blindly from others, but this is like, I give loyalty and I demand that in return from the people that I call, close company to myself. I'm fiercely loyal and I expect that in return. I give you my heart and I expect you to be a good caretaker of that. And I will prove that that expectation is reasonable because I will do whatever is necessary to ensure that you understand that I'm going to give you what I'm expecting in return. So again, this is something where it feels like wounds will be triggered within both of you. You're going to get close with one another, and then something's going to cause those walls to go up, the armor to come up, the defenses to come up. But unlike other situations where it's like, okay, I guess that's it. I guess that's a deal breaker. People that couldn't stick it out long enough, that weren't patient enough to kind of wait for that to de-escalate, that didn't want to find a way through it, that were like, this is too challenging. I feel too backed into a corner. Too much is asked of me at this point, so I'm going to go find something easier. This is the antithesis of all of that. This is something that helps you and this person to understand, like, my wounding is just as valid as the innocent parts of me that still remain after everything that I've been through, that have coaxed me to this point to take a chance on love again. This is a connection where all of you can be celebrated and all of this person can be celebrated. And this person's going to do the most to make sure that you understand you don't just need to be demure and pleasing all the time. Bring on the spiciness. Disagree with me. Be your authentic self. Be outspoken. I want to experience both your light and your shadow. And I want you to be able to experience and hold space for all those different facets within me. Both the parts that are easy to understand, to cope with, to love, and to accept, and the parts of me that represent thorns, or like the prickly pieces, the sharp edges that I've tried to deal with as best as I can. But some parts are so broken, so in a place of disrepair, that nothing can be done except just accepting them. So this person's going to be very open with you, very direct with you. They feel like a very direct person, like they've become a very direct person. This person might have definitely been a people pleaser in the past. They kind of like kept their truth within, ended up resentful, ruminating, self-sabotaging, or kind of explosive and destructive in the ways in which they exerted themselves or asserted themselves in other connections in the past. This is somebody who has evolved beyond that version of themselves, where they're very much like, I don't want to waste your time or my time. This is all of me. Can we work with this? Can you accept these flawed parts of me? Because I guarantee you that I'm not just a person filled with flaws, that there are very graceful parts of me as well. But I can't give my light unless I am sure that my shadow can be honored and accepted as well. And it's not just that they're going to like put that on you and kind of like heap that on your plate and kind of like, this is all of me. This is somebody that's really going to encourage you, entice you, and quite frankly, expect you to not just sort of show up, as your kind of brightest and sunniest self. But this is somebody that's like, don't hide away. Don't turn away from me. When life feels tough, when you feel uncertain, when you need those bits of reassurance, or you feel very vulnerable and exposed in the midst of what we have going on with one another, that's the time when I want you to reach for me. I want to be able to pull you close and hold space while you get yourself right again, or while you allow me to be that kind of balancing polarity for you so that you understand all of you is welcome in my heart and in my life. Yeah, and we have the Six of Wands. So this person appreciates the art of seduction. This person is going to take the time to learn you, to learn your patterns, to learn those triggers, to learn those wounds. Not so that they can, trigger that on purpose. Not so that they can manipulate you. But it's a sense of like, I need to map out the terrain of the places that you hurt so that that is the place where I can pour the most of my love and attention, or I can respect that certain aspects of you are off limits. It's out of bounds. There are certain lines that can't or shouldn't be crossed. And I'll accept those for what they are, or I'll hold space for you to open up about that when it's time, when it feels right. I offer my love and my presence as a form of healing if that is something that you should want, if you should choose to accept that. And if you're just not in a place in your life where you're ready for that, or if it's not something of your choosing, then I accept and love you anyway. And it feels like this person is going to be they're going to be able to demonstrate their truth, their consistency, their affection, their determination, this passionate energy of like, don't push me away just because somebody hurt you in the past. Don't allow this opportunity between us to slip through your fingers because you're scared of being hurt. Because I'm scared too. People have hurt me too, but let's figure this out together. And it feels like the approach that this person takes to, again, learn the nature of the things that are pleasing to you, as well as the things that kind of bring up a disharmonious response out of you, something uncomfortable. Just to be mindful, like, okay, those are the parts of you that hurt. That is that tender territory. I will do my best not to stumble in there. I will do my best not to push your buttons. And I will offer you that same disclosure about myself as well, so that in the midst of the parts of ourselves that it is a struggle for us to love and accept, that we can concentrate on also, seeking out when things get difficult. When it enters into that uncomfortable territory, that we can find our way back to the parts of one another and within ourselves where there's a very pleasing experience, where there is a sense of victory, where there's perfection that still exists in the midst of all the disarray of whatever life has put both of you through prior to coming into contact with one another. We got the King of Cups. This is an emotionally mature person. This is somebody who is very aware of their own spectrum of emotions. They have taken steps, they have taken measures to work on any anger issues they may have had. This is somebody who, it feels like if they were a people pleaser, they had a lot of simmering rage inside of themselves for the ways in which they bottled up their own feelings in the interest of walking on eggshells for others. This could have been something that was like learned behavior from childhood, a pattern that repeated itself over and over again in romantic partnerships. It was always about the other person and never about them. Anytime they voiced their needs, that was something that was dismissed, or, they were punished for that in some sort of way. So this is somebody who has had to kind of process that. Years of their life that might have been spent doing a little dance for the emotional benefit of other people, and the ways in which that made them feel very unseen, very unheard, very unrecognized. This person has taken a long time to get to know themselves. Like, what are my real needs and wants? Who am I beyond the roles that other people expect me to play? Or what I just sort of step into in romantic partnerships because it's a pattern, because it's all that I know and I've experienced. So they bring with you a level of self-awareness. They may also be very different from people that you've dealt with in the past, who might have just been kind of floating through life, or didn't take the time to introspect, only projected blame out, and were incapable of accepting personal responsibility. This person's cut from a very different cloth, not because it was always that way, but because they have like deliberately cut a new shape for themselves. They have carved something out of the essence of who they were. They have shaped themselves in a very conscious and deliberate manner. They have fixed certain things. They've taken the initiative to, or it was just absolutely necessary. So they bring with them almost this wisdom of self that it feels like will be very refreshing for you. And it will also be something that they can hold space for, like a before and after version of you, and everything that you had to go through in order to become this version of you. It's like they have a similar story. They've gone through something very similar. They've been compelled to do something very similar. It's become necessary for them. So it feels like you're going to have a lot of common ground in that sense, or you're going to be able to really empathize with one another in that sense. And we've got the Four of Wands. So this person, you're their 1111 wish. There's a sense that the more you get to know one another, the more time you spend with one another, the more that guard goes up, and there's time and patience, and you're both working with one another and your own limitations and your own expectations, what you have to do, what you need to do, what you want to do in order to find a way through that. Because it feels like you don't sort of like pull away from one another and just disappear out of each other's lives, and then sort of trickle back in after a while. It's sort of like, okay, I'm triggered or you're triggered. Let's find a way through this. This person's like very determined. Every trigger kind of makes them push closer towards you, push harder towards you, trying to find a way not to let this opportunity slip through their fingers. And they're very receptive, it feels like, to the fact that you're receptive to that, or you're like-minded in that capacity. Like, I'm not just going to let the first thing that elicits some kind of emotional response within me be misconstrued. It's like, oh, that's a red flag, let me go. As it feels like this is something that you and this person may also have a tendency towards self-sabotage. You've learned that as well. And so you're both coming into one another's lives in the sense of like, I know the difference between like a true red flag and what is merely just a sign of my own fear of certain traumas repeating themselves. I know my tendency to overlook things that are warning signs, as well as my tendency to be hyper vigilant in the face of anything that fits into that category of the unknown, both the good and the bad. And so this is something that it feels like this is a very empowered connection. This is two people fighting for one another, fighting to continue to show up and hold space for one another while, you know, the hand of the divine works its magic in this situation. But more importantly than that, this is two people consciously choosing to step a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer to one another, and actually getting the reciprocity of that in the form of another person that is receiving that is worthy to receive that, and that is extending that same course of action in their own way. So feels like this has been a long time in coming for you and this person. This is like a reward for a lot of hard work that you've done within yourselves to evolve, to take personal ownership of the things you can change in your life and to do something to change them, to make better choices, and therefore to be able to call into your lives something that is better for you. You're this person's 1111 wish, and it feels like you will come to understand that they are the embodiment of that in many ways for you as well. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.